Hey y'all, just checking in, do my second video. Today I want to do a video on Texas rigging for flipping and pitching. There's going to be several things you're going to need to get yourself set up for it. Um, First, you need a weight. This is a bullet weight. It's a 1/4 ounce lead. Tungsten's also a better choice for it, but I don't have much tungsten. The one I have is a punching weight, 1.5 ounces, and for what I'm going to need it for, this is about the perfect size. I can still flip and pitch with the 1/4 ounce, but it's about as light as I want to go if I'm going to be doing any flipping or pitching. Now, if I'm just casting out and going to be fishing it, I've been known to go down to as low as an 1/8 ounce or a 1/16 ounce weight. Gives you a little slower presentation. Almost I call it the finesse Texas. You can really work that bait nice and slow, and it just kind of flutters down through the water column and not just sinks straight down and you're working the bottom. The other things you're going to need, I like to use a bobber stop to hold my sinkers in place. These are, I'm not sure what brand they are, but I got them at the tackle shop for like $2 for I think 12 of them. You're also going to need a worm hook or a flipping and pitching hook. I don't have any flipping hooks right now, so I'm using an extra wide gap worm hook. It's a thin wire hook. Typically I'd use a thick wire, but I couldn't find one in the tackle box right away, so I went with a thin wire just to make the video. The other thing you're going to need, braided line. 65-pound test. You can also use fluorocarbon, like 20-pound fluorocarbon would be a good choice too. I like this is Power Pro. I've never had any issues with it. This is 65-pound test. Normally I use about 50-pound, but Walmart was out of it when I went to buy some, so I got 65-pound. And something to cut your line with. This is the boomerang tool. It doesn't say what the hell it's called, but it's a clipper. I keep this hooked onto my pliers that I put on my belt, and then it's got a retractable lanyard, so I keep it there and keep it on my belt. So if I need to change lures or anything like that while I'm out fishing, I've got my clippers right there, and I don't need to worry about trying to find them. It's real simple to work. You just push out on it a little bit, and they pop open. Just works like scissors. And nothing cuts braided line like these things do. Cuts through it like butter, and I've tried using nail clippers and tried to use a knife, my teeth. It's much easier just to get one of these. I think I paid like $12, $13 for it at Bass Pro, and it works like a champ. And the last thing you're gonna need is some worms or a bug style bait, crawl. There's not a whole lot you can't Texas rig. For this video, I'm just gonna use some old Cinco or stick worms I had laying around. They're not actual Cincos. These are the Bass Pro brand, and they are in it says crawberry. Looks more like a watermelon red flake. So the first thing I'm gonna do is got this old Arky head jig on. I'm just gonna cut it off my line. And when you're setting it up, I'm using these bobber stops. I don't know if you can see. You got like a piece of wire there. You're gonna thread your line through that piece of wire just a little bit. And pull up on your bobber stop. And it goes through onto your line just like that. Just pull it up, and it comes free of the wire. You set those off to the side. Pull the bobber stop up about 2 foot. Just get it out of the way. You take your lead weight and your line. You gotta thread your line into your weight, through your weight rather. Let that fall down. Bobber stop will catch it. So I set that out of the way. Then your hook goes on. Just thread your line through the hook. Nice and simple. You tie on with a uni knot. line wants to cooperate. Because I'm using braided line, I like to do 8 wraps. Just helps it to hold a little better. Get the line wet. Pull it tight. Cinch that knot down. You just come through and clip your tag end. Once you got that knot cinched down, you can really clip that tag in nice and close. And these clippers allow you to get right in there. You see, you can barely even see that tag end on there. These clippers allow you to get in really nice and close to that knot and take it right off. So, there's the basics of setting up your Texas rig. What some folks will do, and I do it sometimes, is before they put the hook on, after they put the lead weight, they'll put a little glass bead on there, and then leave a little bit of room, maybe like a ½ inch or so of room in that before that bobber stop hits that weight. And that way, if you're shaking it down on the bottom, a bead and the weight will be clacking together, making some noise, having a rattle to it, as well as that bead's also going to protect your knot. So then, as far as Texas rigging your plastic, this is real simple. What you do is take it's a fat worm. It's like a Cinco style. It's a stick worm. It's gonna if you look at the worm, there's a flat end on it, and there's a pointed end on it. You just want to take it by the flat end. That's the easiest way to find it. You take the point of your hook, and you're just gonna put it right in the center of that bait, and run it down. When I'm using an extra wide gap hook, my typical rule of thumb is I just run it. When you look at the hook, you look at the hook, there's a bend right here. I'll take that worm, just run it right up to that bend. Once I get there, turn it, and see it runs about a 1/4 inch onto that hook. I run that up to the bend of my hook, and the trick to Texas rigging it is as you're putting that worm on, you want to twist it. So that where you came out of that hook is on the bottom. Now, because I'm using an extra wide gap hook, I'm going to lay my hook right along. And I want to see where that hook's going to come out at. Kind of measure it. So I see it's right there at the top of that egg sac. So I'll pinch my hook up in here. I'll push it straight through so it comes out the top of my hook. Actually went a little too far. There we go. That's better. It punches through right just above that egg sac. I'll pull up on it a little bit. Stick that point. What that's going to do is make this weedless, so when it comes to brush, it's not going to get hung up. It's just going to slide right through all the grass. And I'll take my weight and my bobber stopper and push them down so everything meets up nice. There's your Texas rig worm. Places where I like to toss this, pretty much anywhere. Brush piles, laydowns, any kind of structure. Just throw it in, toss it in right on top of the structure, right past the structure, and drag it. It's not something you want to work with the reel. You don't want to work your bait with the reel because you lose all your sensitivity that way. You just want to get yourself on a semi-slack line where you got just a little bit of bend in that line and drag it with your rod just by slowly lifting up. If you want, you can kind of give it a little shimmy every so often, give it a shake, and just twitch that worm. So instead of just being dragged through, you get a little twitch. So it'll work and get that little tail just flopping. Get a little bit of flop in the water, and that bass will come up and just inhale it. The other thing you can do is, especially if there's not a lot of structure, you're working on a flat bottom or rocky bottom, is instead of just dragging it, the other thing I'll do is I'll twitch it. I give 1 or 2 pops, almost like a jerk bait, and just let it sit. Put my rod tip back down, reel up my slack to a semi-slack line, then after a few seconds, give it another pop, 1 or 2, sometimes 3 pops. Just let it sit. And that action, bass is it's going to allow the bait, so it's going to jerk up and then allow it to fall back down. And jerk up, and it's going to flutter back down. And the bass is going to be attracted to that flutter. He's going to come over, and as soon as it stops sitting and starts sitting on the bottom and just doing its thing, it's either going to hit it then, or as soon as you start to pop that first pop, he's just going to nail it for a reaction strike. Caught a lot of bass doing that, and just dragging it through the grass and the dirt and the mud. I mean, not so much the mud, but everything else. Other than that, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer for you. If you have any requests on videos, let me know. Unfortunately, I tried to go out fishing today and get some footage for that, but it was cold as hell here in Florida.
Thing I thought was, who the hell pissed else off?
It was when I got up at dark 30 this morning. It was like 36 degrees, I think, and I went out to the water. The wind started blowing, and I said, "Nah, today ain't the day." So I brought myself back to the house and decided to do this video instead. And hopefully later this week or next week, I will be able to get some actual fishing footage up for y'all. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe down below, and y'all have a good day, good luck, and see you out on the water.